Looks like I'm live. I'm going to talk a little bit today about some concepts relating to the Uniquity Road. First of all, I'll talk a little bit about the title. I'm a little uncertain, so help me out here. There's some sheet music out there, including I believe Pat Metheny's songbook, where it's spelled out as if it would be pronounced Uniquity Road. But I think on the album it doesn't have the I after the UN. So Unquiety Road. Any thoughts on that out there? Let me know. But just thought I'd go over that right from the beginning because I'm a little unclear. I titled it Uniquity Road, and was really inspired to do that video based on a Rick Beato video that came out a week or so ago, where he talks about spread triads. So I thought that would be a really great concept to talk about, and a really great tune that I haven't yet put in my library. And if you are looking for tunes, I've got a really long playlist of tunes, jazz tunes of all types, which is called Learn Tunes. So check that out. So I thought I'd talk a little bit about relative and parallel minor and major keys, to get at some foundation of where this tune ends up going, in a sense. So that can really give you, I think, some insights into where Metheny's kind of going on some of these things. So let's take the B section on this briefly. So we end up on E flat minor, and when you check out a tune, sometimes kind of zoom out a little bit on it and think about some little markers. Let's say every few frets. So, or not every few frets, but measures. So we end up going to this a few measures later, A flat minor 9, right? And then we end up kind of going through that same section, but end up on A major, right? So there are some little twists and turns that that kind of play with our ears' expectations on things, right? So this particular moment, let's say E flat minor, the ear does kind of expect the minor 4 kind of chord relative to this E flat, right? And then we get this shift towards the end, which is more of like an A major over B. And we just think about kind of what that does for the ear, and maybe what that sets up for the next moment. Another little motion that we kind of get here is E flat going into C flat here on the bass, and we have G. So what does that kind of do to the ear here? Right? How does the ear react to that? So in that case, if you have a little foundation in submediance and mediance, then you can relate some of these things to that. So I'm not saying that they're exactly those things, but you can relate what your ear has been conditioned to hear through just listening experiences to what Matheny's kind of doing, which is, in my perception, kind of stretching that over into something that's just a little further removed. So let's think about this for a moment. So we have E flat minor. Then the submediant would be C flat major. Okay, and then if we go up above that, the mediant would be E flat, or sorry, G flat major 7, or a major. So what kind of concepts can we pull from that? Well, we can take the submediant and change its quality, change its chord quality, right? So we could say the ear expects maybe this root note, but we'll change the quality of the chord to minor, right? So you're taking the submediant and coming up with a parallel minor, right? And then you can say, how does the ear react to that, right? Right. So that's a little kind of foundational thing that can help to bridge the gap into maybe what Matheny is after, or at least my perception of some of the changes, which are definitely kind of mysterious. Okay, we can also take the submediant and change the root note, right? So we could make it C minor. So that's kind of interesting, right? Because then that sounds like it's kind of closely related to the parallel major of E flat. So, okay, that would be the submediant of an E flat. Right. So then the ear shifts away from this sound into this sound. You could also take the C and make it major. So we could take the submediant of the parallel major. I know this is a lot, but submediant of the parallel major and change its chord quality to something that's major, right? And if you find the sheet music on this, you'll actually see some of these types of chords in that B section, which I'm talking about right now. So in a sense, this is kind of like E flat, or E minor over C. Right. So just kind of summing up there, taking and utilizing some of these concepts of the parallel minor and major, and each one of those taking a listen to their respective submediants and mediants, and then expanding a little further and checking out their own kind of parallel minor or major universes, so to speak. So you can really come up with a lot of different shades and a lot of different moods, and play around, really, like I said earlier, with the expectation of the ear that we've just built up, whether non-musician or musician. And that's a really one of the great beauties of I think Matheny's composition and compositional style is that uh, it really appeals to us as kind of like really geeking out, musicians, some of us, and or just interested musicians, and and some folks just maybe enjoy music more passively and just say, "Wow, that's a really cool tune." So, for him to reach that much audience is really kind of an incredible thing, I think. Um, so perhaps we'll talk a little bit about uh, some of the spread triads and stuff. So I welcome your comments and questions. Thinking this week maybe do a Thelonious Monk tune. It's been a little while. Let me know some of your favorites, what you like, and all that. Not super warmed up, but maybe I'll do a little noodling. And I welcome your likes and subscribes. Check out our member area. See if I can get this to trigger out. Here we go. All right. All right, Jeffrey is here. Awesome. All right, Christian Influence. I look forward to seeing your guitar every Sunday. Appreciate it. I really appreciate the encouragement. Almost want to buy one. Oh, this guitar. Yeah. Go for it. But guitar of this style is really really good to go on. The kind of that 335 tradition of building. You can find, I think, good values out there, and Ibanez makes a whole different levels of instruments. So I did try to put my my truss rod cover back on. I found the cover, but I did not find the screws, unfortunately. So it kind of gives you an indication of how organized I am. But so that was a little frustrating. But hopefully I'll find either the right screws or some replacements for those. I did try to order a third-party one, but it didn't fit. So so there's that. All right. Okay, Eric, and you had a great question on the comment section of that video, so appreciate that. Listening in. Okay, great insights. Appreciate it. So Christian Influence says he's got a D'Angelico Excel in red. I would imagine that would be pretty great. So yeah, let's talk a little bit about some of the spread triads and maybe kind of connect this in a little bit with what the ear kind of hears and it expects, right? Not real warmed up, but so we start out with this A major spread triad, like Rick Beato was talking about in his video, right? So we have A. So this is actually root position. A, E, C sharp, right? And so that's fairly consonant. So it's interesting, and this kind of relates to what Eric was asking about the key signature and all that. It is a little bit kind of misleading sometimes when it comes to the key of what looks like the key of C. And let me know if anybody knows anything about this. But yeah, perhaps that there should be like an indicator for key signatures that are just not really applying to like tonal harmony and things. But yeah, I generally leave the key signature blank. There is actually in finale, there is actually a setting that says like no key signature or something like that. But I don't think it gives any indication that it's not. So it's kind of interesting thing. And just broadly, I would try to think about consonance versus dissonance. This is really nice and stable, nice and consonant. This is pretty crunchy, dissonant, and stable, right? So these are like two direct contrasts, right? And then we get this, still pretty unstable, right? And so that little shift, the ear's hearing A, right? So, and then it hears E, and it gets this D sharp, gets this B, So, it's kind of like, well, what's going on there? And G has not kind of come into the picture yet, right? I don't think. If I just survey these notes, G versus G sharp, so I've got, surveying these notes, I've got A, E, C sharp, I've got A, D sharp, B, I've got E, D sharp, and A sharp. So why does the ear kind of hear G sharp? Like, at least, that's the way I'm feeling it, right? So it's like, why has the ear already decided that that's part of this, and maybe you're not getting that. Maybe that I'm just, kind of reading into that. But when he plays this G natural, it feels surprising to me. Let me know if that's your take on it too. All of a sudden, it feels like, wow, where did that come from? And what does that feel like? Does it feel darker or brighter? I think I mentioned this, Eric, in the comment that I made last night, or reply to your comment. What is the experience of the listener on some of these changes? What does what does the ear experience, in that? Right. And I think that's where it kind of comes into, yeah, I agree. Yeah, it feels darker and more mysterious. So there's kind of these moments where it feels kind of brighter and uplifting, where other moments where it feels darker. And I think is my intuition on this is that, like I mentioned earlier in our live stream, it has a little to do with that ear's expectations, right? We're like, how did we fill in that G sharp? Why is the ear feeling that as like this note that hasn't been played yet, but is kind of there as something that's going on? And I think that just has to do with the tonal system. So something that is kind of departed a little from the tonal system is still going to play with our expectations on tonality. So trying to think about where we left off here. Okay, then we get into this, right? So this has a B natural, right? So even though this has a feeling of minor, like a minor B minor spread triad, we just ended with something that had a B flat in it, right? So, looking at the relationships between minor and major and those shifts, because if let's just say for argument's sake, we're in G minor, then we would expect the relative major of that to be B flat, right? So like I was talking about earlier, if we have a mediant is like a third above whatever you're in. Let's say we're in G minor, and we want to think about the mediant. That would be a B flat major. And then chromatic mediants could come into while changing the chord quality of that, or maybe just doing a different third, like a third that's chromatic or outside of that, right? So then B minor would kind of fit into that concept, right? So this moment would probably sound a little brighter, right? And this kind of feels like, this could be in the same tonality, these two chords, right? And then we have just kind of a repeat of the same two chords, but transposed up a whole step. So that's going to probably feel to our ears a little brighter. Right? But what does the ear start to think about this? What does it think? Does it think, okay, B major? Because our ear is probably subconsciously kind of looking for tonic. Is looking for note collections that we're used to hearing, do, re, mi. Starting to uplift. Sorry, my knuckles are really cracking today. So my thumb knuckles tend to do that. All right, so where does he lead us to? So, expectation, what's next in this? Would it be, does the ear want to hear something like that? That sounds kind of like maybe a little dissonant, but kind of in key, maybe. But what does he give us? So, right. So we get this A. I'm playing this A on open, but I'll play it. I'll play it as fret. So all of a sudden it's like, oh, where did that come from? Right. So we get that kind of thing happening. We get this. So these. This chord A is going to be kind of major 7, sharp 11 kind of sound, and then just going to release into the third, right? And then we're kind of like into the that A framework. So constantly thinking kind of note collections and the ear's expectations, kind of pivot points and all that. Notes that are in common. I think I mentioned this in the comment on the video. Notes that are in common between the chords, the chord changes, and notes that are shifting. So I've been meaning to do this for a while, but I need to get in the habit of doing this. I want to acknowledge our members of the lessons and talks, and of the supporter exclusive updates channel. So I just want to take a moment to thank those folks. Janelle Da Silva just joined recently, appreciate it. Dell Hollingsworth, thank you. Oswald Rancabia, I apologize if I mess up any names. Jacob Peter, Osvaldo, Udo Harold, Nathan Wilson and Chaz Robertson. Just want to say thanks so much. Shout out to you all. Do appreciate it. And also any of your comments and questions help the channel. So you're helping right now just by chatting with me. So much appreciated. Okay, so we've got so it's kind of a home base in A. Yeah, I would, yeah, I would, yeah, exactly. I would try to shy away maybe from thinking about key of A, but you know, admittedly, right? It starts on A, and then at the end, it ends on A, right? So there you go. But yeah, all of the I want to say meandering in the most positive sense. All of the kind of movements and those nice fluctuations that occur in there, just so fun to listen to and fun to play too. So yeah, you know, we get that A chord at the end, and it's over a B note, and we could play that like this. A little challenging to do, but not too bad. Puts it over the B, right at the end of the form. So it's always, you know, kind of trying to achieve this almost ambiguity, you know, to it. So when it comes to these slash chords and putting triads over specific bass notes, those can kind of fall into a couple of camps there. You have inversions of chords where, you know, something like this, you've got G, D, G, and B. So those follow the just G major triad, right? So it's basically an inversion. So it has a specific bass note, you know, down below it. And then these other cases where, okay, we do have four notes, right? And what does that sound like? So it can be helpful to relate some of these to some of the traditional type chords that you might experience. Relate them to something similar, but different, right? Let's say here, if we said, okay, I'm gonna think about this as a B chord, and I'm gonna try to describe this A relative to the B chord. So then say, okay, A would be a flat 7, C sharp would be a 9, and E would be a sus. So like Eric said, a lot of sus sounds in this. And then you can relate that, okay, well, what's that similar to? This is a really kind of cool voice thing. You get B, B9, right? Yeah. Let's see, we'll read some more comments and questions. Thanks so much for attending this, everybody. It really does encourage me here. Makes it fun for me as well. And I love talking about all these little things and unveiling these mysterious type sounds. Eric says, great study, and that's why I think he was refreshing to the jazz world. Absolutely, and why he did polarize some traditions. Yeah. You know, it's interesting that you say that because, yeah, Wes did use this type of chord. I'm thinking specifically in the context of putting this B, if you put this B up 2 octaves, I believe he did use this. I want to think back to a tune. but I can't place it right at the moment. But I know in one of the Wes arrangements, I came across this voicing that he was playing, I believe. I don't remember exactly where the root note was. It may have been B flat. But yeah, this is a really cool chord. You can play it as maybe I'll go back to where I was. B, so B9, and then you have the root note up here. But what's kind of cool too is that the B13 is pretty easy to get to here, right here on, so you get this nice B13, and it's actually not too terrible to put that root back in and get this voicing, which is kind of a pianistic kind of sound on it, not something too unusual for a piano player to play. Yeah, the 9th chord and Freddie King chord. Okay. High voicing and hideaway. Okay, I'll check that out for sure. All right, everybody. I'll take a quick sip of some tea here. I already have my coffee. This past week I was a little under the weather. I don't think I was necessarily sick, but just kind of got hit with some allergens, pollen most likely. It kind of shut down my sinuses and stuff, so I didn't get to my regular schedule of podcasting and my midweek video. But I'm just thankful that I was feeling well enough to do my weekly melody lesson video, which has been kind of a staple of the channel since its beginning, and been working at really accelerating the output. So I'm putting myself on this schedule of one melody lesson per week, which I'm doing my best to maintain. I've been maintaining it for maybe 2.5 months now. So keeping at it, trying to grow our channel, trying to grow our community. And I'll mention too that I have of course, the member area that I mentioned earlier, which I did actually a pretty in-depth live stream for my members on the changes of this tune, Uniquity Road. And also I've got this brand new member site, which is kind of interconnected somewhat to the member area here on YouTube. Eric says, still enjoying that arrangement so much. Yeah, Days of Wine and Roses, that's the one. Yeah, I think that is the one. Yeah, and you must know because you been checking it out. So yeah, Days of Wine and Roses, that's a great one. So I've done a bunch of Wes Montgomery tunes and arrangements on the channel. So I think I might do a Thelonious Monk tune. I was thinking of Straight No Chaser, but maybe I've done that before. But I'm pretty open to updating some of my older videos. I was thinking about maybe updating the confirmation video. I had a comment about one of the notes on it, which does kind of puzzle me, I have to say, because it goes up and then it's a little goes like that versus right, and spend some time like looping this one note, E versus E flat, And this note is definitely the E natural, but where it goes from there, it sounds. I don't know if there's an intonation kind of thing, which I do suspect that it's an E flat that's slightly sharp. But yeah. Well, you needn't. Yeah, that's a great one. I think I may have done that, but perhaps that would be a good one to redo. Um, yeah, Thelonious. Well, you needn't. Yeah, I think that one I did do. I'll have to double check on that. But that's a great tune. Well, you need it, but I'll have to check. If I haven't done it, maybe I will. And then if it's really kind of an older one, who knows? Maybe I will update that one. Um, there are a lot of great tunes by Thelonious Monk that are really fun to play. I would like to actually do Around Midnight again at some point. Um, I did do a little bit of a video on the Wes Montgomery intro uh, for that. I did that a few months ago, so that was pretty interesting. Our channel is almost 10 years old. Getting close. Yeah, around midnight is great, um, and I know a lot of folks have enjoyed that video, and I think I split it up into different parts. At that point in the channel, I was doing kind of shorter videos for shorter segments, and lately I think I've been putting everything into kind of one overall bigger picture or a bigger video. Um, so I would like to maybe revisit that at some point. Guitar sounds great, by the way. Eric says the change you made a couple weeks ago has improved. Already great sound. I appreciate that. Yeah, I had I went through this period where I was really trying to simplify some things, and then I kept working on things, and I was passing my guitar cabinet thinking, gosh, I really, I invested in that. I really need to make use of it, because it's just gonna bring more to it. And so I think I finally got a little bit of my system simplified enough and reframed where I felt I was ready to maybe complicate it a little bit for some advantages, and that's where I went on that. So I was going for really quite a while in this process through the Strymon Iridium, which kind of emulates the sound of guitar cabinets and amplifiers. And I liked it. I liked it a lot, and I still like it, and I think it's a good fallback to use, and I would recommend that pedal. Uh, but yeah, going through the guitar cabinet is it is ultimately really nice, and I've found that mixing and mastering, which I've been trying to gained skill at over these last 10 years has become easier working with that sound. So yeah, I'm so glad that is being noticed, or that is noticeable. So yeah, thank you for that, because yeah, I have been putting some efforts into all that. So if you want to know more about that, I'm going through my Quilter Pro Blocks 200s, which I don't think those are in production anymore, but and then I'm going through a Mesa Boogie 2x12 pair of those cabinets. So yeah, I'm really happy with the sound, and it just feels more frequency wise. I'm liking it. Hey, Akif Bilin, thank you for your comment. Appreciate it. I'm gonna hang out here another few minutes here. Thanks so much for joining in. I really do appreciate it. I hope we've gained a little bit of insight. I really like the direction of the talk today. I think working on those fundamentals and the basic things will really serve folks well. It has served me very well, and continues to do so. I continue to try to work on foundational type things, and how they can inform and give insights into some of the maybe more complicated or challenging music, can really give you an avenue of, well, how far from this basic thing is that really? In a sense, we're working with 12 notes. A lot of these things are interconnected, and a lot of it has to do with our collective early history of hearing music, whether it's Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, or the most wild Coltrane avant-garde period, of things. So our ears are kind of rooted in our history, and if you think about it, we've really done a lot of listening over lifetimes, all types of music. Jeffrey, thank you. I'm glad this was a great live stream. Yeah, thanks. I'm so polite. Yeah, I am fairly polite. I don't know if that's my upbringing or my personality or what. Yeah, it's a little, admittedly, it's a little hard for me to, get, I'm getting comfortable with it, just kind of from doing it. But I've always enjoyed playing guitar and exploring guitar as a sense of kind of like this puzzle, of the instrument and the puzzle of music, and how interesting it is. But I haven't really been drawn as a performer to get up in front of people. But I've done that a lot, just because I think that's natural to the process of, well, you got to show something for what you've been doing and investigating and spending all your time working on. So yeah. How long have I been playing? So I would say probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 35 years, somewhere in there. I don't have an exact date necessarily, although I probably could come up with one. But probably 30 to 35 years, somewhere in there. I played, I think I was kind of somewhat serious as a teenager, um, you know, but um, I got my hands on the instrument a lot, um, but I really um, I was not particularly disciplined as a teenager, as probably most teenagers are not. So, uh, but I think that the investigation part of it, the interest of it, drew me to play. So I would recommend seeing it from that angle when you look at practice and playing and stuff, is trying to follow your interest a little bit, and then push a little bit at things that you're not good at. And I think that's has served me pretty well. Zachary says, been playing bass for over 20 years. Very nice. Nice. Yeah. All right, everybody, I'm about to call it a day here. Uh, Original Jazz Cats are intense. Yeah. Definitely. Um, yeah, I took a lesson from, speaking of that, I took a lesson from Joe Cohen. I haven't checked into him in a long time, but I took a lesson from him. Really learned a lot, um, and it did set me on a path of pursuing many of the things that he said he pursued. Um, but um, but yeah, he was a really intense and driven uh, uh, person at that time, which I would imagine he still is. Like I said, I haven't checked in on him, but I will. Now that I'm thinking about it, I probably will. But yeah, it does take I think, some intensity. It's an interesting thing because you want to be maybe a little bit laid back, on your style and maybe timing, and relax, but there's a certain intensity in practice, and wanting to kind of get good and get better, and all that. So thanks so much, everybody. I really appreciate your following the channel and all that, and I will see you all in the next one.